Hi everybody, it is Katie here from the Queen of Teen Fiction. So I have my gear on, I have my rune on, I have some notes in my hand, which can mean only one thing. It is Shadowhunters discussion time. So usually I make these videos every 2 weeks and discuss the past 2 episodes. However, I've been finding that very difficult to keep up with because I end up forgetting the previous episode. And it gives me less time to say all the things that I want to say. And also we're approaching the final few episodes now. We've only got 4 more episodes remaining and I want to make as many of these videos as I can because I love discussing the show. And also there's a lot more going on in every single episode now because it's nearing the end. So let's start talking all things episode 9. I enjoyed episode 9 because there was a lot going on. Everybody seemed to be involved in some way. It was an episode that not only featured Magnus, but it also featured Luke and Raphael and Meliorn as well. So we've got the whole supporting cast included in this episode. You have the things that are going on in the Institute and the things that are going on outside of the Institute. There's just lots of stuff. And once again they managed to pack a lot of emotion into this episode, which is definitely one of the reasons why I enjoyed it. And also this was the first episode in which I really wanted to slap Alexander Lightwood. I have said before that I could not stand Alec when reading City of Bones because his attitude. Whereas in the show, I have loved every second of him being on screen because he's been moody in a good way. But episode 9 was the episode in which he finally got that attitude that I can't stand. Now I'm starting to recognise Alec from the books. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Let's start talking about it. So in episode 9, Lydia informs them that Meliorn has been arrested because the Forsaken that broke into the Institute had Seelie blood and therefore was able to enter the Institute. And the Clave believe that Meliorn has been helping Valentine. They're also suspicious of Isabel as well because of how much time she spends with Meliorn. Their relationship is no secret. And there is suspicion that maybe things that Isabel has said whilst with Meliorn has led to him being able to help Valentine. And so Meliorn is the centre of all the drama this week. We start the episode by seeing Meliorn get arrested. Obviously Isabel is not happy, and this is where we start to see some tension between Lydia and Isabel. Jace comes rushing back to the Institute after he hears about the attack. Meanwhile, Clary goes off to find Simon because obviously he's just been turned into a vampire. So Jace comes back to the Institute and this is where Isabel and Jace finally discover that Alec is engaged to a woman he's known for a day. I liked Izzy and Jace's reaction. Also, you have a little conversation between Robert and Alec going on in this episode, in which Robert is not happy that Alec has chosen Lydia to be his fiancée, but obviously Alec brings up the fact that Robert and Maris were in the circle, which is something he also lets Izzy and Jace know as well. So Lydia interrogates Meliorn and discovers that Clary has found the cup. She believes that the cup is with Clary currently. She doesn't realise that it is hidden inside the Institute. But of course Alec knows that because he was the one that helped hide it. Alec wants to hand the cup over to his new fiancée, which of course Jace isn't going to let happen. And so Jace pretends that he's getting in touch with Clary and that Clary is going to come and hand over the cup herself. Jace intends to take the cup and Clary's necklace to her to keep it away from the Clave. To do that, he needs Alec's stele. So to get this, they enlist the help of Magnus. First of all, yay for more Magnus. I was really happy to see him again in this episode. He reluctantly agrees to steal from Alec. He creates a little spy hole in the wall and teleports the stele out. And then of course Alec comes out of the room and sees Magnus there and they end up having a conversation in which Magnus discovers that Alec is engaged. Now I'm really mixed about this because on one hand I love the tension that this is creating, but there is also this as well. When we think about it, Alec and Magnus haven't really spent that much time together. They've met a handful of times in the show. They don't know each other tremendously well, unless they have spent more time together away from what we've seen. But so far, from those few meetings, I can't see that that was much of a chance for them to really bond. So whilst we've seen that Magnus is very clearly into Alec, and so we understand why he is saddened when he hears about the engagement, I couldn't help but think, does he really have a right to be? Because he still doesn't know Alec that well. Now, if we'd have seen them go on a date first, built up more of a bond, and then Alec went away and proposed to Lydia, that would have been more of a betrayal. And I think this storyline would have worked a lot better. That's just personally how I would have done it. If it was me in charge of making this show, I would have put them on a date first, built up those beginnings of a relationship between Malik, and then let the bomb of the Lydia engagement drop. Because in that scene when Magnus found out that Alec was engaged, he genuinely looked really heartbroken, and it was so sad, but I don't know, it feels like a one-way kind of thing, like he's just pining after Alec all the time. Whereas I can't help but wonder if the Magnus that we know in the book would be like that without having spent more one-on-one time with him. I don't know. But I'm going to talk a bit more about this at the end because I'm going to discuss the promo pictures that were recently revealed for episode 12. Anyway, moving on. Whilst all this is going on in the Institute, Clary takes Simon to Hotel de Mort. Jace has called Clary and warned her that the Clave are looking for the cup and that they know she has it, and he tells her to get to someplace safe. Because she's with Simon, and Simon also needs to be someplace safe, they end up going to Hotel de Mort. Raphael agrees to let them stay there and keep them safe. And so what we get are a lot of heartfelt scenes between Clary and Simon. They talk about Clary's decision to bring him back as a vampire, and there were some really great scenes between the two of them, and I enjoyed them. I also liked as well that Clary made it clear that it was her decision to bring Simon back and that it wasn't Raphael's fault. I liked that straight away Clary tells the truth to him. There's no deceiving and lying in their friendship. It just shows how close a bond that they have. Oh, I forgot to mention, before they go to Hotel de Mort, there is actually a scene where Simon goes home, and there is that really touching scene between him and his mum, and I really enjoyed that scene because I like that we're getting to see Simon and his mother's relationship, because obviously we know in the books him and his mum go through some really troubled times when he tries to tell her that he is a vampire, and she ends up basically saying that he's not his son and stuff like that. So because they're setting up that close relationship that they have now in the show, you know it's going to be a really emotional storyline for them. So I really enjoyed seeing that, and once again, I have said it for the past couple of weeks, Alberto is so brilliant at playing Simon and doing this storyline correctly. So whilst at Hotel de Mort, we get some more scenes with Raphael. I just love Raphael. Honestly, I'm so happy with David Castro. Raphael is perfect in this show. He really is. I love how he keeps bringing up Simon ruining his jackets. So when Jason and Izzy finally get out of the Institute with the cup and Clary's necklace, they go and meet her outside Hotel de Mort. They tell her that Meliorn is in danger of being executed by the Clave, so they all agree that they need to go and get him out of there, but they need help in doing that. So Clary has the idea to bring Downworlders together. To do this, she has Luke and his pack work with Raphael's vampire clan. I liked these scenes, particularly the pun-type insults that Raphael and Luke were throwing at each other, which quickly leads to the vampires and the werewolves wanting to tear each other apart. That was a great scene. Again, I like Raphael a lot, and I like Luke a lot. Clary steps in and manages to talk them down. And what I really liked in this episode was how much Clary was able to get through to the Downworlders. I like that we're seeing this side of Clary in the show. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, when she is trying to persuade Raphael to help them, Raphael says that he'll agree as long as Simon gets to stay with the clan. And I like that Simon straight away decides that he'll do that. And then he says, because he has to help protect the Downworld, because that's his world now. I really adored that. Character development. So anyway, back to Meliorn. As they're preparing to free him, they see that Alec is part of the escort to take him to the City of Bones. Alec quickly realises that Jace, Clary and Izzy are there to free Meliorn, and then we get that scene, the most heartbreaking scene in this episode, and one of the most heartbreaking scenes throughout this series in my opinion, is the fight between Alec and Jace. Oh my god. And it was heartbreaking to see the two Parabatai go at each other. It was so clear that Jace didn't want to do this. He wanted to get through to Alec, but it just wasn't going to happen. And this was the scene in which Jace really made me emotional, because he got emotional. And I like that he showed that level of emotion when it came to Alec, because throughout this series, they have been at each other's throats quite a lot, particularly since Clary came to the Institute and started spending all of her time with Jace. Their relationship has been really tense, and so we haven't seen a tremendous amount of their bond. In this scene we finally did, because we saw how much it was hurting Jace to be fighting with Alec. Also, what I didn't expect is that little mention of Alec's feelings towards Jace. Jace clearly isn't stupid and is actually aware of Alec's feelings for him, and he brings that up when they're fighting, and I didn't expect that, but I liked it. I have a feeling there's going to be a conversation about that at some point. But yeah, that scene. Bravo to Matt and Dom for that scene. So at the end of the episode, they do manage to free Meliorn. Simon goes back to Hotel de Mort like he promised. Jace and Clary agree to take Meliorn back. The episode ends with Meliorn offering Clary the gift of helping her find her father. Okay, so I want to talk about this because it's leading up to the next episode, which is episode 10. I can't remember the name of the episode, but it's something like The World Inverted or something like that. But I know it's an alternative universe episode. I have seen the promo for it. I'm assuming you all have as well. It seems like Jace and Clary have to go through some sort of alternate world to somehow find a way to Valentine. I have absolutely no idea. It looks like next week's episode drifts quite far away from the books. Let me just say that I am equally excited and nervous for episode 10, because an AU type episode, I don't know, right? I think it could either be really, really great or really, really terrible. So I'm very worried. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. I'm just wondering how well that's going to work. It's going to be very, very weird. And it could go two ways. It really could. I could end up really loving it or really hating it. So I'm anticipating the episode and worried about it. I have no idea how it's going to play out. But I also know that Michael Wayland is going to show up in one of these two episodes, either episode 10 or 11, in this alternative universe. So I'm wondering if this is how Jace is going to find out he's related to Clary, because I read a synopsis for episode 12, but that synopsis did say that Jace was keeping his distance from Clary and kind of closing off their relationship. I don't know whether that's true or not, but that's a synopsis I saw. So I'm just wondering if this other universe is how Jace is going to discover the truth about his father, which isn't really the truth. Which I think I'd like. I'd like if that's how it's revealed, and that'd explain why they've gone this whole AU route. Who knows? We'll see. So what I want to talk about quickly before I stop this discussion is the promo pictures for episode 12. I don't know why they reveal the promo pictures for episodes a few weeks away. It's very in advance. I don't know why they do that, but they do. I'd rather not see until a week beforehand, but hey ho, we have pictures. So if you haven't seen those promo pictures, which, come on, you have, then you might want to stop the video now, because I'm going to show them. Bye bye. So, these pictures. As you can clearly see, they're pictures of a wedding. I'll be honest, I didn't expect the engagement storyline to go this far. I thought that it would be resolved before a wedding day happened. I mean, obviously I don't think they're going to get married. They're not going to get married, okay? But to actually have the wedding happen, that was something that I didn't expect to see in the show. And I'm kind of like, do I love it or do I not? First of all, from the pictures, I can tell you now that the wedding looks awesome. Silent Brothers and a gold dress. At first I thought the dress was white because I was viewing the pictures on my phone, so they looked a bit brighter, and the dress looked white, and I was like, but the more I see of it, the more I think it does look gold, actually, so I was wrong. But yeah, it looks cool. However, what the frick frack diddly dack? This is going to tear my heart out. My little baby Alexander Lightwood standing up there, about to get married. He looks on point though, not gonna lie. Yeah, I am very, very nervous. Obviously, we know that this episode is called Malec. Somehow this wedding isn't going to happen because Alec's going to end up with Magnus. I think we can predict that much. But I do remember when the cast were talking about the show, a lot of them did actually mention that episode 12 was a big twist away from the books. So yeah, I should have expected something like this. But with regards to how this wedding is going to be stopped, I'm going back to what I said earlier about Magnus and Alec. A lot of people are saying, what if Magnus objects to this wedding? I do not want that to happen because, like I said before, I don't think Magnus has formed a close enough bond with Alec to burst in and object at his wedding. Okay, guys? What I want is for Alec to realise that Lydia isn't what he wants and to stop the wedding himself. Not just to be with Magnus, but I want him to stop the wedding because he knows this is not right for him and because he's accepting the fact that he doesn't want to marry a woman. So I want him to stop it for himself more than I do Magnus because, like I said, I feel like they barely know each other at the moment. They need to take time to get to know each other more. We know from the books that this relationship is a slow burner relationship. So with regards to the books, I've seen a few people say that what if this wedding is going to be a little bit like the scene in City of Glass, which is one of my favourite scenes in all of these books, by the way. It's the one where Alec kisses Magnus in the Hall of Accords in front of everyone, just as they're about to go and fight, which is like a big screw you to the Clave. Some people were wondering if this wedding was going to substitute for the war that's happening and them being in the Hall of Accords, and that big kiss could happen here. As I was saying before, when we get to that scene in the books, we know that Magnus and Alec have spent a lot more time together. There's more history between them there. That's why that scene means so much. Because of all the feelings and everything that's happened there and the drama between them, that comes to a head and that kiss happens. In the show, I don't know if it will have as much emotional impact as the scene in the books did because we haven't seen that forming of relationship between Alec and Magnus as much. So I am interested to see how this is going to play out. Obviously we have another 2 episodes before we get to that wedding. I don't know whether both episodes are going to be in this alternative universe. I really hope not, because I think that should be a 1 episode kind of thing, but I don't know. So I'm hoping more drama happens between Alec and Magnus before we get to that wedding point. Because that episode is called Malik. We know Malik things are going to happen. And I want more of their relationship before that happens. I don't know. Do any of you agree with me? Probably not. That's just my personal opinions on it. However, I am very excited to see more Malik. You know how much I love Matt and Harry as Alec and Magnus, so I'm excited either way. I'm just very curious as to how it's going to play out. But anyway, that is all that I wanted to discuss today. Please let me know if you enjoyed episode 9. What are your thoughts on that promo for episode 10? What do you think is going to happen? Are you excited for that or not? Let me know all the Shadowhunters related things in the comments. Hopefully I will be back here next week with another discussion. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!